14 games, 3 goals conceded. Arsenal's defense isn't just good. Arsenal's defense is becoming legendary. Let us break down what Mikel Arteta has built, the great defensive wall of Arsenal in the 25-26 season. Welcome back to All About Arsenal. And today we're going to have a stream about the great defensive wall of Arsenal. I'm going to have some of my panelists join me as we go ahead, but while I'm waiting for them, I think I need to get the show running. So basically, we have played 14 games so far. And we've considered just 3 goals. Arsenal isn't just defending well, Arsenal are defending like champions. This season, because Arteta has built something that every opponent fears, a wall. Not just a wall of stone or steel, but a wall of timing, a wall of chemistry, a wall of tactical intelligence. Today, we're going to take a deep dive on how Arsenal have become one of the most unbreakable defensive units in world football. This is a club that prides itself in defending as well as attacking. And as you could see, at the time of this recording, Arsenal is currently on top of the Premier League with 22 points. Let's quickly check the table. Yeah. So in 9 games played so far this season, Arsenal has won 7 games, had 1 draw, which was the draw against Manchester City, and of course suffered 1 defeat, which was that amazing free kick that was scored by Dominic Szoboszlai. It's just crazy to see that since the time Liverpool beat Arsenal in late August, was it late August or early September? In late August, yeah, 31st of August. Their form has been very patchy. They managed to get a win against Burnley, which was a last-minute penalty by Mo Salah. But in that game, they didn't play as well as you would expect them to. And of course, they followed this up with a very late win over Atletico Madrid, and everyone was all about how Liverpool are showing so much resilience. The late win against Arsenal, late win against Burnley, late win against Newcastle, late win against Atletico Madrid. Then they now played Everton in the Merseyside derby, and they won that one 2-1. I don't think they had a late goal in that game. No, there were 2 early goals from Ryan Gravenberch and Hugo Ekitike before Idrissa Gueye scored for Everton, and that was 2-1. But they followed this up with a win in the EFL Cup against Southampton. Remember that game? That was the one where Ekitike got a red card for a silly move where he removed his jersey after scoring like an easy tapping pretty much. Then the wheels fell off. Liverpool visited Crystal Palace in the Premier League, and our boy Erin Ketia, did the Lord's work that day, scoring a very late goal that was enough to make Liverpool lose 3 points. And prior to that, Arsenal were actually chasing them, but that loss to Liverpool kind of, tilted everything in our favor. Then they went to the Champions League and lost to Galatasaray. It was a penalty from our boy Victor Osimhen. And of course, coming back to the Premier League, we suffered yet another late defeat. This time it was against Chelsea. It was Estevao who latched onto Cucurella's drive into the box and made it 2-1. Then, after the international break, Manchester United, who were still having their own struggles, visited Anfield. And despite the fact that, they scored first, Liverpool got an equalizer from Cody Gakpo. But late on, the Harry Maguire himself, with the big head, smashed on him with the cross from Bruno Fernandes. And the losses kept piling on. They played against Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League and won 5-1. And then I thought, okay, yeah, they were actually back or something like that. But coming back to the Premier League against Brentford, Liverpool lost yet again. This time it was 3-2 with goals from Django Ouattara, Kevin Schade, and of course a penalty from Thiago. Then they now went for the EFL Cup against Crystal Palace. And this one was quite funny because obviously Arne Slot made so many changes to the team. Woodman was in goal, Ramsey was at right back, Kekes retained the spot with Robertson and Joe Gomez playing in centre back, Wataru Endo and Iyuni were the central midfielders, Morrison and Mohario were on the wings, and there's a senior face in Alexis McAllister playing just behind Federico Chiesa. However, Ismail Assar was the star of the show, as well as Jeremy Pino, as Crystal Palace smashed up Liverpool in that round of 16 of the EFL Cup. And as we're already aware, the quarterfinals draws are out. Arsenal is going to play Crystal Palace. Cardiff is going to play Chelsea. Manchester City is going to play Brentford. And Newcastle is going to play Fulham. There's so much time between now and when the Carabao Cup quarterfinals come. I think it's sometime in December or thereabout. But right now, let's return to why we're here. Arsenal has kept 11 clean sheets, I think, yes, in 14 games. And that has been an unprecedented record. I know how we started the season, this campaign. It was the season started with a 1-0 win against Manchester United. It was Ricardo Calafiori who scored the only goal of the game that day. Then it was followed up with a 5-0 win over Leeds United. That was the game where Victor Gyökeres finally broke his duck for the team, scoring a brace, a good slalom run, and a penalty. And of course, Julian Timber scored 2 goals in that game. Crazy. And he had 24 FPL points, or some crazy amount like that. And I think Bukayo Saka also scored in that game. I remember clearly, yes, but he also had an injury. He also had an injury. The Arsenal followed that up with the visit to Anfield, where I believe we went in that game with the handbrakes on. Unfortunately, we actually lost to Liverpool. Did we have more possession on the night? No, okay, Liverpool had more possession, but we had more shots. We didn't do well enough in that game. I remember, yes, Saka was injured. Odegaard wasn't fully fit. But starting the game with Mikel Merino, Declan Rice, and Mendy was just too backward in my honest opinion. And that has turned out to be the only loss I've suffered so far in this campaign. Went into the international break, a couple of Arsenal players did very well for their countries as the games progressed. And when Nottingham Forest, visited the Emirates, that was when they just got them and Postecoglou following the altercation or basically fight between Edu and Nuno Espirito Santo, which cost him his job. And still learning the ropes at Forest, Arsenal, smashed him up. And Ange went on to get some more terrible results. After losing to Arsenal, he lost 3-2 to Swansea in the EFL Cup, which was a shocker. Then there's a 1-1 draw with Burnley, a 2-2 draw with Real Betis in the Europa League, and a home loss to Sunderland, a home loss to Midtjylland, an away loss to Newcastle. And when Postecoglou lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest, to Chelsea, sorry, he was sacked. That was such a short run as the manager, which was a big shame. Sean Dyche has taken over from Ange Postecoglou with his first game against Porto, and that was a win. Then, of course, he lost to Bournemouth. So Arsenal continuing their good form, playing their first Champions League game against Athletic Club. We had played Athletic Club in the preseason tournament, in the Emirates Cup or thereabout, and we beat them that day. And of course, we played them again, and the Champions League this time was a more competitive and serious match. But the Gunners had enough in the tank with a 2-0 win against Athletic Club. There were goals from Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard. And of course, the second goal we ever conceded in the campaign came against Manchester City, and Arsenal hosted Manchester City at the Emirates. It was a 1-1 draw. The last time Manchester City visited the Emirates was only a 5-1 win. So the fans were quite disappointed. When we think of the fact that Arsenal played very well in that game, of course, Manchester City had to really defend for their lives, taking out the likes of Erling Haaland, to bring on defensive players and all that. But they almost ran away with the win, if not for the lovely pass from Eze over the top and I got attacked by Martinelli for a 1-1 draw. Arsenal's Carabao Cup adventure started in the third round when he visited Port Vale. As expected, Arteta rested a lot of players that day. We had games Azabalaga, Luis Kelly, Mosquera, White, Norgard, players that actually needed those minutes. And when we got goals from Eberechi Eze and Yano Trossard, we advanced to the next round. And in the next, obviously after that game, we played Newcastle. That was the third and the last goal we've conceded, which was actually in the month of September. And of course, as we are already aware, it was a very, very tough game. And Newcastle actually scored us first. The goal from Nick Bothman. I still think that Gabriel should have done better against Bothman in that scenario. But late goals from Merino and of course Gabriel redeeming himself put us back on the lead. Then we went to the Champions League. We hosted Olympiacos for the second Champions League game of the campaign. Goals from Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. Martinelli's goal came after the Gyökeres played the shot that basically passed through the goalie, but he kind of ushered it up until he got to the bar and he poked it home. And of course, Bukayo Saka had a very good goal with the pass from Odegaard. Then Odegaard, unfortunately, suffered a terrible injury when Arsenal played West Ham in the league. That was the game that we're actually looking forward to because Arteta actually played Odegaard and Eze as a double eight with Declan Rice behind them. And then they actually started that game from the bench. But when Odegaard suffered that terrible injury, Mendy had to come on for him and basically change the game. But unfortunately, Odegaard suffered a terrible knee injury that day when he clashed knees with, I think of Christian, so Somerville, yeah. And despite trying to play for a couple of more minutes afterwards, he hit the deck. And since then, Odegaard has been out injured. He's been out for basically a month, and we're expecting him not to play again till the next international break, which is sometime in middle of November. So let's just see how that goes. And of course, after playing against West Ham, we visited Fulham. That was a very tough match that we played. But obviously, we got the results we wanted. The 1-0 win, courtesy of a goal from Leandro Trossard, and put us in a very good position. And of course, we then hosted Atletico Madrid. That was an amazing game. Arsenal ran them ragged and also mixed up the goals with some goals coming from set pieces and other goals coming from open play. Martinelli's goal from the lovely pass and Luis Kelly giving was an amazing one. Hi Rory, welcome to the stream.
Yo, you good, bro? What are you saying? Apologies for the lateness.
Right, I was just talking about our amazing record right now. We've played 14 games. We've conceded just 3 goals. And the last time I checked, the haters are still hating about this. What's your take on our defensive performances so far, mate?
Well, with our defence, I'm not going to pretend that it's not strange seeing us with a back four that is capable of competing on all 4 fronts. Like, let's erase Saliba and Gabriel from this situation, right? Let's actually dissect our backup centre-backs because they are more than capable of starting for any Premier League team right now. In terms of like Mosquera, Hincapié, you could argue last season with Kiwior's performances towards the back end of the season, he could start for most Premier League teams. I mean, it's mental. Like, considering I've watched over the years, and I'm sure you have as well, Anthony, that we've had some duds at back, like defenders who have won places at Arsenal through a cereal box. You get what I'm saying? The likes of Mustafi, Mavropanos,
Sylvester, Sigan, Schillaci. Yeah, go ahead.
Jenkins and Kolasinac. Like the list goes on, bro. You go on biggest critic last season. In fact, we were playing really poor in terms of like the style of football, but we weren't getting results. It was just draw after draw after draw against teams that we're expected to beat as well. Like we're not talking teams against Liverpool, Man City. Like we're drawing against the Evertons, etc. But we wouldn't concede goals. Now we've got to a point where we've strengthened the attack, we've strengthened the defence, and we can afford to get results, but also keep clean sheets, which of course wasn't the case last season. We could keep clean sheets, but just not score goals. And I think this is a huge testament to, obviously, Mikel Arteta, because, you know, he's really built this back four. In the space of 5 years, I think that's the only thing you can say that he's actually done well at this moment in time. You know, regardless of what happens towards the end of the season and whether or not we're lifting the Premier League in May, I don't know. But so far, like, the biggest thing you can take away from Arteta throughout his 5 years is the fact he's managed to rebrand this defence really well. And you can argue that most of his best signings have come from the defensive areas, like Gabriel for 30 million has been a ridiculous investment. Timber for the same amount at right back, and then David Raya in goal as well. Obviously, there was question marks raised whether or not he was going to replace Ramsdale, and well, whether or not he's going to be better than Ramsdale. And now it's fair to say he is an upgrade on Ramsdale, and although he's not number one at Spain right now, he's pretty much taken that number one spot with ease at Arsenal. Now Ramsdale's languishing on the bench at Newcastle. So, listen, I think it's really impressive the way we are defending this season. And I was impressed last season, but of course, we weren't really getting results. But so far this season, with the investments we've done in attack and the fact we are getting results, I think this is where the defence can receive their plaudits, because, you know, we are keeping clean sheets, we're not conceding many goals, and that's it, bro.
Awesome. I agree with you. And when you think of the fact that no team in England has been harder to break down, it's a proof that our philosophy has matured into a complete system. So the question I would like to ask Rory, how long have we built up to this? Is it just the last 2 seasons where we won the Golden Gloves for Raya, or has it gone beyond that?
Sorry, say again. I completely missed that.
Yes, I'm thinking of the fact that this season we are currently having the best defensive record. Yeah. Last season, David Raya won the Golden Glove with 13 clean sheets alongside Marcel's. Yeah. And 2 seasons ago, David Raya also won the Golden Glove again with 16 clean sheets. You know, so the question now is, how far back have we built it? Did it just start from when David Raya started winning those clean sheets, or was it beyond that?
It's a good question, you know. I think obviously the credit is going to go to Saliba and Gabriel. Like, let's just have it that way. But I think obviously this first season, I would say he did get bailed out a little bit by the 2 centre-backs when he won his first Golden Glove. I think his second Golden Glove, which was obviously that, because there were a couple of games, in fact, not a couple of games, but there were games where he saved us a lot. Like, I think that's
the one comes to mind.
Yeah, Man City, although we didn't keep a clean sheet in that game, but like he was outstanding. And I think he almost knew that he needed to go up a level, because I think when we signed him, he was like 27, 28. So he was in his prime. And I think he still is in his prime, because he's like 30 years old at the moment. So he had to have a good season. And although there were moments that frustrated me, the fact he was, you know, coming out of his goal, and, you know, I don't even think that was an instruction made by him. Like, I was hearing from Brentford fans in particular that he would almost play as a second centre not a second centre back, a third centre
It
back.
was centre back, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a frustrating thing last season with David Raya. But I would say his first Golden Glove, I think, I think, to be honest, he did get bailed out by Saliba and Gabriel because there weren't really like many saves you could probably pick out. There was not many games where I look at and go, yeah, he saved us in many games. And obviously, early on in his reign, like, obviously, Arsenal fans were singing for Ramsdale to be back in goal. So it was a horrible start for him. And obviously, he'd done an interview. I think it was in that same season, or it may have been at the end of last season. And I think the turning point of his career was obviously that Luton game where he conceded 3 goals. Funnily enough, the last time we conceded 3 goals in one game, I think he said something like that was the turning point. That's when I needed to, click into gear. Unless, like I'm gonna get replaced by the Ramsdale or, Arteta, knowing the scouting, it's fair to say, of goalkeepers lately. He would have got obviously replaced. I don't think those were exact his exact words, but it was something like the Luton game was the turning point for him, and since then he's been obviously an excellent signing. I backed it from day one. If I'm being honest with you, I think Ramsdale towards the end of his tenure, I think, was it the interview where he said he couldn't concentrate for 90 minutes, and when Mikel Arteta's around,
I didn't like that interview at all. He kind of messed himself up by saying that he doesn't concentrate.
Yeah,
so that was not a good thing to see as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was almost a similar situation to Zinchenko, where he came out and pretty much exploited Arteta's tactics since he got bloody exposed at left back. So it's just these minuscule things that players are coming out with, and obviously since Zinchenko done that interview as well about I think it was something to do with set pieces. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
He got obviously replaced, and so did Ramsdale when he said he couldn't concentrate for 90 minutes. But yeah, I backed Raya. Like, even when he was making these mistakes against Luton, he got lobbed by Mudryk against Chelsea. I was still sat there like, he's still better than Ramsdale, if you ask me. You just have to give it time, because obviously the fans were giving him a horrible reception by calling for Ramsdale to be back in goal. So what's that going to do to his confidence? If you actually back the player, he will come good. And lo and behold, he has come good, and he's arguably the best goalkeeper in the Premier League right now.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you. Because sometimes that's all just a little bit of love. If you remember what happened to Kai Havertz when he first joined us, there was so much vitriol and abuse towards him and all that. Well, eventually he became the best striker we had up until when we got Jokeres. So that's something to really think about. So now let's look at the games we've kept the clean sheets again. Let's break them down one after the other and just see whether there's an element of luck or whether the lads actually worked hard to get it. The first one was against Man United. Man United had 22 attempts that day, and that was a game that I actually thought we were going to concede. When you watched that match, were you confident that we were going to keep the clean sheet?
I think with the Man United game, obviously, I agree with you. I think we did get lucky in that game. I don't think Man United necessarily peppered our goal like we did back in 2017, and David De Gea made 14 saves in 90 minutes. Yeah, it wasn't nothing like that, and I've had numerous arguments with my mates about it, and I'm like, well, no, you didn't pepper our goal. You didn't miss chances, because most of them shots were straight at Raya, apart from maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, like
they hit the post, and Raya made a great save to deny Cunha, and then Mbeumo forced a save out of Raya in the second half, and that was about it. All of their attempts were straight at Raya. Look, they still did dominate the game, and they were the better side, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they peppered our goal. But again, like we did get lucky in that game, because if Man United played with, I don't know, a recognised striker, because they didn't actually until Sesko came
Yeah.
in the latter stages, then we could have lost that game. But lost. I don't know. Perhaps we could have dropped points, but I don't think we would have won that game if they had a recognised striker up top. And if, of course, they finished a couple of their chances. So, I'm on the same page as you, bro. I can't lie.
Okay, awesome. Now let's look at the next one. We had the clean sheet against Leeds. That one was pretty much routine. I think despite the cross that Pascal Stroik headed from that corner kick, I don't think Leeds had any other chance in that game. And we basically dominated them from start to finish. They didn't really keep a low block, but they didn't really attack us per se. But besides your career's goals, did you have any favorite moments from that game from a defensive standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, like, Leeds didn't really propose much threat. I think Raya made one save from a corner, and that was it. I think that was the only shot they had on target. So, to be honest with you, bro, I can't remember a chance they actually created. So, yeah, that was routine. And it should have been routine anyway. Like, no disrespect to Leeds, but, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, come on, we should be keeping clean sheets against these
we
teams.
should actually. We should be keeping a good results. Then the next game where our record was first broken against Liverpool, obviously, that game looked like a game where it was going to be like a 0-0 draw. I remember Arne Slot saying something that if you play that game 10 times, Arsenal would have won one, Liverpool would have won one, and there would have been 8 draws. But you can't take anything away from the most nice free kick. That was a world in my
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest with you, I think there's not really a whole lot we could have done about the goal because of a free kick, which was absolutely outstanding. I think it probably got competition with Declan Rice after Real Madrid, obviously. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like, could we have prevented the free kick? I remember Zubamendi giving the free kick away, but like, yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot you could have done there. Otherwise, it would have probably ended 0-0.
Yeah,
so.
True.
Yeah, that's about it, really. Obviously, that wasn't from open play, so we're still not on to, the goal we conceded from open play yet.
Yeah, we're going to get there eventually. And of course, you go to the next game, which was against Nottingham Forest. That was just when Espirito Santo got sacked, and Ange Postecoglou, of all the games to have his first game against us, that was just a mess.
Yeah.
The whole situation was just a mess in every sense of the word. And even though Sean Dyche has come down to steady the ship, when Ange came to the Emirates, I was very certain that they were not going to do anything. And we dominated them as expected. So what did you think of that game defensively?
To be honest, it's the same as Leeds, if you ask me. Like, Forest only proposed like one opportunity again, and that was, I'm pretty sure, and I think that was accidental at the time. I don't think Chris Wood intended.
Oh yeah, they're doing that smashed Chris Wood off his body or something.
Yeah. So again, like it was comfortable, considering we didn't have Saliba playing that game. I think Mosquera started, and he was arguably one of the best players on the pitch. So
True. Yeah, obviously we went to San Mamés and played Athletic Club. We had played them in the preseason, but obviously that was a different encounter, different style. This time we're in their home ground. They had quite a decent record in their home as well. But going there and winning 2-0, even though they were late goals from Martinelli and Trossard, I think defensively we did okay. I know they had a couple of interesting shots against us, but we kind of held our own. What was the thoughts on the Athletic Club game?
Yeah, I thought first half we looked a little bit shaky defensively, from what I can remember. Second half, we stuffed out most of their threat, to be honest with you. Obviously, we had no choice but to go for the game. Like, it wasn't one of them where we were already 2-0 up in the first half and we could just sit back and basically see it out, we had to obviously attack. And considering we had to attack and we still scored 2 goals and didn't concede at the same time is impressive. And obviously Bilbao is a difficult away game, considering that was their first game at home in the Champions League in like years.
Yeah.
So
the fans were up for it actually. Yeah, now let's talk about the second goal we conceded against Manchester United to that cyborg called Haaland. So talk me through this, Rory. What could we have done better to avoid that goal?
Say again?
What could we have done better to avoid that Haaland goal?
To be honest, it's with the Haaland goal, it's yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I think I'm not saying I agree with the lineup, but if you want to stop Erling Haaland, then playing Marino, Zubimendi, and Declan Rice with a backfour of Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, I think played in that game as well, and then Calafiori was probably the way to go.
And we did that.
Well, you know, when he scored in the, I can't remember the minute that's on my head, to be honest with you, but it was like in the 6th minute.
Yeah, like the 5th minute or thereabouts.
Yeah. Having 3 holding midfielders and a back 4, although awful defending. The fact, to be honest with you, the centre backs were really poor for that goal. Like Gabriel was caught out of position, Saliba was poor tracking back as well. Like he could have definitely prevented that pass from going through. But the midfield I look at the most, to be honest with you, because this is just what happens when you push many players up the field against Manchester City, especially on midfield. Like, the fact we played 3 holding midfielders and still got caught on transition, I mean, that's a red flag for me. And like for me, it was between I think it was Zubimendi, Mikel Marino, from what I can remember, who were just fucking about with the ball. And to be honest with you, I can't really remember much about some of these games, if I'm being honest with you, because
I get what you mean.
Like,
you don't shake up your memory and stuff. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. And from a defensive point of view, apart from the Erling Haaland goal, Man City obviously came to bloody defend in that second half. So again, I could only remember when Haaland went through on goal in the second half, and we almost bloody scored an own goal somehow. I can't really remember much threat Man City had apart from the goal they scored and Haaland going through. So but the goal we conceded that game was, I was livid at the time because the fact you played 3 holding midfield.
It was very painful.
Yeah, we still conceded on transition. Like,
true. So the next game on the list was against Port Vale. Piero Hincapié was meant to make his debut, but he was still struggling with a groin injury at that time. So we had to use Saliba alongside Mosquera, while White and Lewis Kelly played in defense. Obviously, this was supposed to be a routine game against the lower division side. Yes, there was a time when Greenby smashed to Man United, but this was not one of those type of games. Straight in the park,
awesome. I mean, Port Vale, I don't think had a shot on target in that game, to be honest. So obviously Kepa had hardly anything to do really, to a point where I think he played out from the back, and he pretty much gave them back possession, which I don't blame him for, because if you're a goalkeeper sitting behind that Arsenal defence, like you are going to feel a bit bored, and you're going to be a bit complacent. So Yeah, like as expected, really. Like I know we're away from home, but Port Vale are, I think, 21st in League One,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
expected
yeah.
them.
They're not on the high part of
Yeah,
the
like
one.
we could set out with a defence of under 21s and still probably kept a clean sheet. With all
True.
due respect to Port Vale,
Yeah,
but like we
true.
could
True.
have got
Because
away with starting a full like under 21s defence. So
yeah. Then of course the next one, which was actually the last goal we conceded when we played against Newcastle, was a 2-1 win goal from Merino and Gabriel. But I really
yeah.
felt that he could have done better with the goal that Newcastle scored us from Ultimate. Why do you think he just went to the ground and was expecting the free kick rather than challenging for the ball? Was he really pushed?
Nah, I don't think it was a foul for me. I think you know how much I love Gabriel, and of course he redeemed himself with the goal he scored. But come on, that's poor. Like, obviously it wasn't just him; it was Mosquera as well. Obviously he gave the corner
Yeah,
in the
the free
first
kick,
place.
the corner kick actually from that poor clearance.
Yeah, but for me, like, it's never a foul. Like, for me, he was. I mean, did he get caught up with the foul that wasn't given when we played Newcastle 2 seasons ago,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, the one that
he
passed
should
through the
have got a
line.
free kick because of it. I think, yeah, we lost 1-0
Yeah,
and
yeah, that was the one that Anthony Gordon. We had like three
yeah,
fouls from different locations. The ball passed the line. There was a push on Gabriel, and so that St. James
yeah,
Park has been a ground where we've really struggled in recent times. And obviously, that goal was not nice from our defensive outlet, but it seemed to actually prepared so well. But I'm just really happy that they got enough in the tank to get the win. And that takes us into October. October was quite a good month for us now. 6 games played, no goal conceded. So we don't to just game before we look at the players individually. Olympiacos, any thoughts on the defense on that game? Routine win?
um, to be honest with you, I think I pointed this out in my match reaction when I reviewed that game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we actually struggled to contain a lot of their crosses. I think they actually caused us a lot of problems. I remember the Raya save
Oh, yeah,
in the
from
first half.
Prudence.
Yeah, and I thought Olympiacos actually created quite a few opportunities. I can't actually remember the back four that played that night. I remember Ben White playing at right back.
Yeah,
I
it was the
believe
back four
Saliba and
was
Gabriel did play.
Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Luis Kelly, and White. But Gabriel was subbed for Mosquera when Raya caught the ball and landed on him.
Oh yes. I remember. Um, yeah, Skelly had a decent game. I felt like,
Mhm.
but yeah, like we did concede quite a few chances to Olympiacos. I just think it was their crosses that caught us out quite a few times. I think they had a goal disallowed for offside. So
Yeah,
yeah,
sure,
like
sure.
it wasn't an easy game. But obviously, we pulled through in the end. So clean
Awesome.
sheet, can't really go wrong with it.
Yeah, then we had West Ham. This was a game I was looking forward to when Potter was still the manager. But obviously, Espirito Santo took over, and you would expect that it's taking a while to get them to gel. So we got 2 goals. One was from Declan Rice, who didn't want to submit again, then for the Saka penalty. But I think the defense was very steady in that game. We didn't have any troubles with
Yeah.
yeah, with full Krug in attack. Yeah, that was a straightforward one. Any thoughts?
I mean, not really, because again, West Ham had 0 shots on target. So
Yeah.
what would you to say, bro?
Okay, so let's move
Like we were at.
to Fulham. The Fulham one was quite interesting because the game was kind of on the knife edge somewhat, and I was just wondering where the goal was going to come from. So I'm happy that we scored from a set piece, no doubt. But there were a couple of chances they had, especially from Harry Wilson, that
Yeah.
they didn't take, and I was kind of scared about the game, especially with the record that we had there. We're thinking we're going to get a clean sheet in that game.
Again, like I don't think Fulham had a shot on target in that game, and they were at home. They did have a couple of half chances, but apart from that, like again, defensively we were excellent, resolute, and yeah, I don't think Raya had a save to make, so
Yeah,
like I can't really comment too much on our defense apart from the fact we were resolute at the back, and yeah, we didn't really allow many chances to go forward really
yeah,
for
true,
Fulham.
true. But the next game to the Atletico Madrid game was a game that we probably should have considered. When I think of the madness that Raya did on that flank,
Yeah.
I don't know what was going through his head at that moment, man. That was just scary. You should have just played the ball out for a throw-in. Why do you want to bring the ball back into play?
Yeah, it was a weird one, bro, because I'm pretty sure he was trying to let it go out for a goal kick. But at the same time, like, you're not a left back, bro. You're a goalkeeper. Like, I don't understand why he was basically holding hands with the linesman in that pattern of play. But, you know, obviously Atletico hit the bar from
Alvarez.
from the attempt
Yeah.
outside the box. But again, like that would have been a goal that you would have just gone, tell you what, hold my hands up. That is just an outstanding goal, one of the best goals of the week, right?
Yeah, if it went in, actually.
Yeah, but again, like defensively, obviously, I remember Timber having an excellent game in there.
Yeah,
You know,
he did very well.
Lewis Skelly was probably man of the match for me, and then the two centre backs, just with traditional performances, really, to a point where you just go, well, they're just going to produce an 8 out of 10 every week, so there's no point
pretty
really
much.
praising their performances. So
without even putting much effort. Yeah, there's too much
yeah.
you know.
Oh shit, is he lagged out? Or is it me? I actually don't know, to be fair. Oh, hold on a minute. Let me see if Yo, that was eventful. I can't actually hear you, bro. I can hear you a little bit, but no, it's fine. It's just I can't really hear you that well, to be honest with you. You might have to sort out your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, bro.
Awesome.
All good.
Okay, so we're actually cooking something nice. My enemies came around. You can see how the opposition fans just make things go crazy for us sometimes. They even go to trip our internet even in our homes. So we're talking about the Crystal Palace game. I thought it was quite eventful. Crystal Palace has been a team that has been scoring so many goals, but coming to the Emirates, we kind of lost pretty much. When you think about the fact that the only shot on target was the Nketiah that Raya caught,
Oh,
that was just bullocks, man.
yeah. I mean, I thought it was crazy that they counted the Nketiah half chance as a shot on target. Well, Fotmop, as far as I'm concerned, counted it as a shot on target, and the Premier League did, I believe. But yeah, that was mental. The fact a cross is now counted as a shot on target when it really wasn't a shot, and the ball was going away from goal. So I would class us as, getting robbed there, to be honest with you. But I mean, considering Crystal Palace, Mateta, who caused us a lot of problems in that first half, and when Mosquera came on, obviously Saliba picked up an injury, and I thought our defence looked better in the second half than how we played in the first half defensively, if I'm being honest with you. So, listen, I think defensively in that game, in the second half, when we were already 1-0 up before half time, I knew we were going to see it out, but it was only until I think they added like 7 minutes on, 6, something like that. I ain't gonna come on here and say the meme, but 7 or 6 minutes, right? They added on, and that was probably the moment where I got a little bit nervous because they were with crosses. But again, like we brought on players like Mosquera at half time, and Capier came on. We had who else came on in defence? I've actually forgotten.
Yeah, so we had in Capier, we also had Lewis Kelly come on for
Lewis Kelly, that was the other one, yeah. So I think it's crazy that we've got these amount of defenders to throw on in case we want to see out a game, and we had to at stoppage time, especially with all the defenders on the pitch, we had to see it out. Although I was a little bit nervous. So yeah, I mean, it was not a great game to watch. I thought both teams were actually decent defensively, but if we're sticking on topic, yeah, Arsenal were again excellent defensively. So there's not really a whole lot you can say really about the defense that hasn't already been said.
Let's talk about the last game. I remember when came into the podcast, Josh podcast with me, you, and Dom. I was kind of confident that we were going to change the entire back line, and at the same time, when it actually happened, I was a bit surprised. So, what was your thoughts on the overhaul of the entire squad for that Brighton game and the result that came out of it?
What, from the Crystal Palace game?
No, Brighton, the EFL Cup game, the last game we just played.
Oh, the EFL Cup game, the defence. Obviously, we rotated heavily, didn't we? To be honest, obviously, in the game, I would say opening 15 minutes, you can tell like the defence wasn't really used to playing with each other. Like we had two centre backs in there that haven't played with each other before
Yeah.
in Capier and Mosquera. And we did look open at times.
Mhm.
But again, like Mosquera has had experience in these sort of games, hasn't he? Considering he's 21 years of age, but he's played a lot more minutes than Capier has.
True.
And they definitely grew into the game, definitely in the second half. Lewis Skelly, you could argue, should be the starting left back right now, although Calafiori's been excellent this season. And Ben White, I thought, arguably had his best game since, in fact, post-injury, I would say, because like since he's come back from injury, he's not really looked like the same Ben White.
Yeah,
but I thought
he has kind of lost his step somehow.
Yeah, I think he's been getting done a lot, I would say. Wingers are finding it easy to skip past him. He's not really going forward as much. And his crossings, obviously, it's obviously not been great lately. But I thought, like, against his former club as well, I thought he was actually really good. And obviously, Kepa, who I would say was one of the best players on the pitch as well.
I think he was actually my man of the match. He made some very amazing saves in that game.
Yeah, I mean, the save wasn't too hard to make, but again, he had to make himself big. Even with the chance Brighton missed, where he didn't get it on target, but like the fact he closed down the angle and he encouraged him to put it wide pretty much. So I think he deserves credit, and 5 million is looking like a shrewd bit of business for a second choice goalkeeper.
Awesome. So basically, we've spoken about the entire team's clean sheet against top opposition, minimal shots faced per game, and an XGA so low that it's practically unfair. This is Arsenal, a team that is not surviving by luck or miracles. It's a team built on control, balance, and understanding. When you watch us now, you feel that calm. It's not like a coincidence, it's actually coaching perfection. So let's get to the next segment, which is our rock solid defensive duo of Gabriel and Saliba. So basically, they have been the backbone of Arsenal's success. I believe they complement each other very perfectly. Saliba's calm anticipation, Gabriel's aggression, they stay compact, they dominate duels. From the very first time you saw them play together in 2023, did you ever think that they will grow to become such a formidable defense, pairing together?
Well, at first, I thought when Gabriel came in 4 years ago, like in that summer window, and obviously Saliba came in the summer before, and in that same summer we had Saliba and Gabriel in that squad, but of course we were playing the likes of Rob Holding, Pablo Mari ahead of him, etc., ahead of both of them. No, Gabriel started. In fact, I'll take it back. Gabriel started of the season, but Saliba was the one who was left out, and obviously he was sent out on loan. I thought we had a solid partnership coming along, but I never anticipated that this sort of partnership was going to happen soon enough. I knew that they were going to become an excellent partnership in the future, but obviously Gabriel's now 27, so he's in his prime. Saliba's still 24. So I thought, once Saliba reaches his prime and Gabriel reaches the age of 30, 31, I think that's when we're going to see Gabriel and Saliba, properly explode, it's fair to say. And it's actually come, soon enough, really, hasn't it? I mean, in their first season when they first played together, obviously Saliba was the bollocks, wasn't he? The moment he got injured and Rob Holding had to step in, that was pretty much our downfall. I think it wasn't really inevitable. I didn't expect us to obviously
crumble like that.
I didn't expect us to fall off like we did, but I think that pretty much spoke volumes on how important Saliba was and still is to this day to Arsenal. Now, I think it's vice versa. Gabriel, you could argue, is more important than a Saliba because Gabriel is just deadly in both ends of the pitch, like set pieces, in the opposition box as well. Well, same thing technically, but in our own box is what I'm on about. No one can beat him physically. Like he is unbelievable. Yeah, he's unbelievable in the air. Probably the best centre back in the world when it comes to aerial duels and in terms of winning headers and scoring goals. Even like the guy's got like 20 goals for Arsenal, which is ridiculous. I think John Terry got 41.
Crazy.
Yeah, John Terry's got 41. So the way he's moving at the moment, I can see him breaking that. To be honest with you, but I think obviously Gabriel, in the 22-23 season, like pre hair transplant, you get what I'm saying? He was very error prone, wasn't he? Like I still backed the guy. I think he was doing all right, apart from the mistake he did against Fulham and the penalty he gave away against Tottenham. He didn't really make too many mistakes, to be honest.
Yeah, but he was under so much pressure that time.
Yeah, exactly. And I was trying my best to obviously defend Gabriel, and a couple of fans from our fan base was actually defending Gabriel and trying to justify why he should be in the starting 11 still and how important he still is. But obviously there's the other section that wanted him dropped, which was mental. Like they wanted Ben White to be back at centre back to play alongside Saliba and then play Tomiyasu at right back. Yeah, but since the World Cup in 2022, I believe, the last one, he wasn't obviously called up to the Brazil squad, and since then Gabriel's obviously kicked on and he's gone up a level, and his trajectory has been absolutely insane. And now I would say he's better than Saliba in terms of his box presence in both ends, as I said. Whereas Saliba, I think, is more dominant
in our own box.
Yeah. So I think it's hard to obviously separate who's better, and it's painful when I say one of them's better than the other, because at the end of the day, I'm just grateful that we've got both centre backs in my hand for combined 60 million. So I find it hard, to be honest, separating the two. But they've been rock solid, and the only thing they need is just trophies now, and we've got a great chance of doing so.
Well, how bold a move was it to move a 50 million quid Ben White to the right to accommodate Saliba for someone that was relatively untested?
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous, to be honest with you. It really is.
Yeah, I agree. So now let's talk about them individually. Saliba plays like a veteran. He's calm, he's composed, always have that 2 steps ahead like a Rolls Royce player. He really dies because he doesn't need to. His positioning is elite. His recovery pace is absurd, and the decision making is flawless. But prior to Arsenal were enjoying all these things we're enjoying with Saliba. Did you have the opportunity to see him when he was on loan in France? He went to Saint Etienne, then went to Nice before going to Marseille. Did you have the opportunity to see some of his games in France to make like an honest assessment of how his loan spells went there?
So, like, whilst he was on loan?
Yes.
To be honest, like, I didn't really watch a whole lot of it whilst he was out on loan. Obviously, there's that clip of him pocketing Mbappe whilst he was through, and he made that last-ditch slide tackle. And I think that was the time where we played a back three of Holding, Chambers, and Kolasinac away at Man City, and I'm sat there like, are we really doing this? Like, that guy can't get in the team, but we offered contracts to the likes of Kolasinac, Holding, and Callum Chambers. It's absolute well, it was lunacy at the time.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that he had that spell at Marseille where he broke onto the scene. He got called up to the French squad. I think he was French Player of the Year.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't French Player of the Year. I think he was
No,
Marseille's.
no, he was a nominee, but he didn't win.
Yeah, it's like Player of the Season, something like that. I don't know. But it pretty much gave Arteta the choice no choice, in fact, to bring him back into the starting 11. And even when he was starting in pre-season, I was still unsure whether the guy was going to start for us. Because obviously he was going through a lot, apparently. Whilst he was at Arsenal, apparently lost his parents or something like that. So he's obviously eager to go back to France, and I think the frustration was obviously the fact he wasn't playing, and as I said, players like Mustafi, Socrates, Holding, they were getting new contracts. They were, getting more chances than a Saliba, and we were conceding goals at the time. Like we were 15th when he was still in this Arsenal squad. He still couldn't get an opportunity in this team, which you send him out on loan, and then you're bringing up all these superlatives about Saliba and how much he's a fantastic talent, but you don't use him in any of the League Cup games even, or the Europa League. So that was the opportunity, but obviously it's worked out in the end, and he pretty much hit the ground running from the first game against Crystal Palace away when he was man of the match. I knew we had.
Then that Bournemouth goal, it's left.
Yeah,
that was so beautiful, man.
Yeah,
I agree. So now let's talk about Gabriel. He brings fire. He's very aggressive. He's vocal. He's fearless in duels. When there's a cross, he attacks it like his life depends on it. From the transition, you're speaking about how Gabriel was prior to the head transplant, no doubt. But how important now has he grown? And how happy were you when he signed the contract at the beginning of this season?
Oh, I was buzzing, bro, because for me, and signings aside, right, when it comes to Eze, Gyökeres, you can talk about Mendy, whatever, right, who came in through the summer. That is the signing of the summer, as well as Andrea Berta coming in for me. Because Gabriel, in the last 2 to 3 seasons, he has been so important. And I think, as I said earlier, I think we could lose Saliba, Mascara would come in, and he would fill in and do a good job. Now, if we lose Gabriel, I don't think, although Nketiah looks like a very, very good centre-back who can, replicate exactly what Gabriel offers, but I don't think he's quite there yet.
That level,
Gabriel level. So if we were going to lose Gabriel, I think our threat from set pieces, obviously we saw it last season, we were leading.
Because if you remember when he got injured against Chelsea last season, we basically stopped scoring from corner kicks. As in our threat on set pieces just was died. Yeah, we had a couple of
by the way, bro.
But it was like night and day, man.
Anthony, wasn't it Fulham, by the way? It may have been.
Was it? Oh, it was Fulham. Was it Fulham?
Yeah, he got injured against Fulham.
Chelsea.
No, it wasn't Chelsea because Chelsea.
He went for that tackle and he got substituted, and I don't think he played after that anymore.
The injury may have happened against Chelsea, but obviously the hamstring happened against Fulham. So, you could see we were conceding a lot of set pieces when Gabriel wasn't there. I think back to the Bournemouth game, and I'm not saying we would have lost to Real Madrid if we didn't actually. I don't know what I'm on about. Yeah, we beat Real Madrid, and I get that. However, in the Premier League, obviously there was more spaces to exploit in the Champions League in comparison to the Premier League. So we had to obviously rely on set pieces more than we did in the Champions League in the Premier League.
True.
And Gabriel wasn't there, so we can obviously do what we do best, and score from set pieces. Declan Rice.
Yeah, so
I
and I
couldn't
agree
remember
because losing Gabriel, Saka, Kai Havertz, that really messed up our Champions League campaign and Premier League campaign. I'm just glad that they were able to learn from this and move forward. So just to wrap this part of today's segment of the kind of chemistry that Gabriel and Saliba have grown didn't happen overnight. It happened because of continuity, trust, and the faith that would allow them to grow together. And of course, the numbers prove it. Arsenal has considered the fewest chances from open play than any side of the season. So now let's switch gears from Gabriel and Saliba and move to Julian Timber. I'm really over the moon about Timber because when I think of the fact that he suffered an ACL injury and was out for like 10 months and came back and he's doing what he's doing right now, keeping White out of the side. I'm like, what kind of man is this? And how did he manage to go basically overcome the adversity to become one of our most trusted players in the squad?
I mean, he is, I would say, joint with Gabriel, the most important player we've got.
I agree with you, man.
Yeah, I think with the ACL injury, obviously I was gutted at the time because I didn't know how he was going to obviously respond from it and how many setbacks he would receive, to be honest, after that ACL injury. Like, how many games is he going to play after, after the ACL injury and stuff like that, and, pre-season, and the fact he's going to come in like a new signing, right? I was concerned how many setbacks he is going to have since that ACL injury obviously happened. He's barely had any apart from obviously towards the end of the season where he had surgery.
Yeah.
That's the only time I remember he had a setback, and obviously he had to play through injury, both legs against PSG, I believe.
Yes.
So that's just mental. The amount of games he has played since that ACL injury. And I look at the likes of Rodri, who have come back from the same injury, and the amount of setbacks he's had at Man City. I look at Ben White, who's not exactly been the same since, the injury he did receive.
Yeah.
And I just think this is a testament to how strong and how physically equipped Julian Timber is. Like, he could play a full 90 minutes, 120 minutes if necessary, and he would be perfectly fine for the next game. I mean, I think his fitness levels are ridiculous. You can tell this guy's been, whilst he had that ACL injury, he was working so hard to get back up to full fitness. And now he's, I would say, best right back in the league so far this season. I don't think anyone comes close.
Without any argument, I think he's the best right back in the league. But the question now is there any hope for Ben White to come in regular games, or will Ben White just be the backup for Carabao Cup and FA Cup and stuff like that?
Right now, no. I mean, I really like Ben White. I've been a fan of him for years. Apart from that, time where I felt like in the 23-24 season, I did say stuff that I kind of regretted about Ben White, and I was kind of going, oh, well, we need to upgrade at right back and stuff like that, because again, like, defensively he was getting ripped apart.
There was
throughout the December period, and like he had obviously the blonde hair and shit, and like that's when his performances almost went downhill. And quite frankly, I just went on a massive tangent about him, because obviously we paid £50 million for him. But it's fair to say, like, he has definitely, well, second half of that season, he won me over, most definitely, because he was excellent, and apparently he played more minutes than he should have done. Because
injury as well.
Yeah, he was playing through an injury, and he was still excellent throughout, that season. And obviously Timber's come in, and like right now, in terms of going forward, I wouldn't say Ben White is a better. Sorry, I wouldn't say Timber is a better. Oh, is he a better crosser than Ben White? I don't think
he doesn't cross as much compared to White, but I think he does more cutbacks.
Yeah. But I think going forward, right now, you could argue Timber is better
Oh yeah,
because
he has improved. Yeah, he has a very good XGI right now in the league as well. One of the highest in the team.
yeah, I mean, right now the ball just glues to his feet every time.
And he has even added
I think
goals
he
to
can get
it
better at
too.
crossing, which his crossing's not bad, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But if he could just tweak his crossing a little bit, then he would be the complete fullback, 100%.
Awesome.
Because you've got a player who can go forward, can cross, can defend. Like he would be the complete fullback, and I still think he probably is at the moment.
Yeah, because
Because
because like right now I can't even think of players that are actually better than him in the league. I think he's basically the best right back.
yeah, like we're not really judging his crossing though, are we? Like your main attributes as a fullback
Yeah.
is defensively, going forward, and again, if he can improve on that final ball, I think again he would be complete. Not quite there, but compared to all the other right backs in the league and
Mm-hmm.
in the world, if you ask me, I think bar Hakimi,
Yeah.
no one.
Hakim is on a different level, man. That guy is just a beast. But
Yeah,
then
and
again,
I think Timber's a better defender than Hakimi, to be honest with you.
I think he defends better than Hakimi, but Hakimi attacks more. And I think another player that attacks more than Timber in the league, I think is Daniel Munoz of Crystal Palace. That guy's an attacking freak, but I don't think he defends that well. Okay, so let's
Yeah,
talk about the protection that our backline gets. And that's where Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi come into play. Rice and Mendy, they're basically the shields that make everything tick, their positioning, their awareness, ability to sniff out danger. This actually means that defenders can actually hold their shape while Rice and Mendy destroy transition. Without them, our war won't stand. So what I'll just ask you is, what's your take on the transition from Pate and Jorginho to Rice and Zubimendi?
yeah. Um, well, I'll start with Zubimendi first because I've seen obviously more of Declan Rice than I've seen of Zubimendi so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not just this season, but throughout um, throughout their careers, because obviously Declan Rice has been at Arsenal the longest. But Zubimendi so far, right now, I like what he offers on the ball. I think he's been excellent. Um, it's just I've still got my concerns defensively with Zubimendi and whether he can read a game.
Mm.
And I think that is that was one of his weaknesses when he was playing at Real Sociedad. Like he doesn't really have
Physicality.
the same spatial awareness as a Declan Rice does when he plays six.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the way I've watched Zubimendi so far this season, I can see him more as an 8
Mm-hmm.
than a number 6 because he is that good on the ball. Not to say like he should be playing as the number 8, but I think he should be pushing forward more than a Declan Rice, I would say. I think Declan Rice should be as the number 6, and then Zubimendi is the guy to push forward. Although, again, he's not really that sort of guy to push forward. I've not really seen him drive with the ball like a Declan Rice does.
Yeah, it
Hence, at the moment,
doesn't
so far,
much.
no, go on, bro.
I was aligning with you that he doesn't progress the ball as much.
Yeah. But I think at the moment, so far this season, I've seen both of them exchanging. One's going in the 6, the other is playing in the 8, pushing forward. And as I said, like Zubimendi doesn't progress the ball forward, does he? But he always has an excellent eye for a pass. And I think that's why he should be the one pushing forward and Declan Rice in the 6. However, I don't mind them both exchanging, almost like a Gilberto and Vieira.
Yeah.
Type players where one would go, one would stay back. I like what I'm seeing, not just Declan Rice wandering into oblivion, because like that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't have your number 6, wandering into the box. I don't mind him winning the ball back, etc. But
yeah, I agree with you. And when you think about the fact that two of them are basically talking about defensive identity, they know how to anticipate the ball very well and they fill in gaps to help defenders step up. And they're very good at decision making, detecting tempo. And I really love the fact that, Mendy is someone that has come into the squad and has just hit the ground running because we have seen someone like Florian Wirtz at Liverpool, almost 12 or 11 games, just 2 assists, and you can see how the kind of money that was also paid for him, he hasn't basically lived up to that expectation. But losing someone like Partey was a bigger pill to swallow. Obviously, Partey was a very, very key player to Arsenal, and he had to go, and obviously, Mendy came in. So I'm really proud to see how two of them have panned out. Now, let's talk about our goalie, David Raya. David Raya is just someone that has so much composure on the ball, command of his box, and this has made us very stable. His distribution and area control also helps us to relieve pressure, which is a huge difference when comparing to Ramsdale. I know we have touched on this earlier, but when we signed Raya, were you among the Arsenal fans that were unhappy that he came to challenge Ramsdale and potentially take his spot? Or were you among the Arsenal fans that were happy to see him come and challenge Ramsdale for the number one shot?
Well, obviously, at the time, I was happy with the signing, as I said earlier, but I think the reception from most of the fan base was, I don't know, another goalkeeper, which, competition in goal, like, it's not a problem, but we had obviously other departments to address, like the striker.
Yeah.
So I was gutted that we didn't get a striker in the end, because I think, like, if we would have got a striker that season, we probably would have won the league that
Yes,
season.
I agree.
Yeah, but again, like, I was behind this signing. Obviously, some weren't, because obviously Ramsdale's dad would attend Arsenal games, and like, that's pretty much the case, really.
Yeah,
Like,
the passion
why
for the
they
club and
didn't want
stuff.
Ramsdale replaced, because he's one of the fan favourites. It's like, let's say a Michael Elise, for instance, would have come in from Crystal Palace. The same season he moved to Bayern Munich. Like, if we would have had have had competition in that right wing position, and he would have been better than Saka, then we would have been a little bit unsure whether or not Saka should be replaced. But at the end of the day, if you get replaced because your backup or the player that you've brought in to provide competition is doing better, then it makes sense, really. Because again, like, we're not Player FC, we're Arsenal Football Club. Like, this is what we've got to get into our heads.
Yeah.
And obviously, there was that sign of Arteta bringing Raya in for that first game. I think it was Everton. He made his debut, and then he played against Tottenham, and then played in the Champions League. There was that sign of, because either he's Spanish or he's that brand new toy that, all managers bring in and then they just start them straight away. It's almost like that scene in Toy Story where Woody's the most popular, and then Buzz Lightyear fucking turns up, and now Woody's less popular. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I was happy with the signing at the time. I love the fact he was excellent at the time at claiming crosses. That's not really changed. His distribution has been really good, although there are times where he can get a little bit too comfortable, because again, like, he doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the defence in front of him. But this is the difference between him and Ramsdale. Like, Ramsdale in these sort of games, right, when we're playing, I don't know, Everton at home, right, he would, of course, lose concentration. He would act complacent, like he did against Southampton, pretty much at home. Like, within seconds, made a mistake, and we went 1-0 down within seconds. And that happened quite a few times. But obviously, when the pressure was on, and when we needed Ramsdale to deliver, like, he delivered. Raya can do both, right? If he has naught to do all game, he will still make a big save to keep us in the game.
Yeah.
And when the pressure is on, it'll also make a really good save as well. Because I know what it is. He's just so commanding. And I think people are actually failing to realise that this guy's also a leader at the back. Like, we talk about Gabriel, Timber, Saliba, whoever, Declan Rice. I know he's not in our back line, but you know, he's part of this. He's part of this trifecta we've made at the back. But I think no one's really taken into account that Raya is also a leader, and he could maybe be in contention for the captaincy. I don't know, but yeah, he's been an excellent signing. And
so, but in your own honest opinion, should Ramsdale have stayed back? Because if you look at his trajectory after leaving us, he went to Southampton, suffered yet another relegation, and right now he's a backup to Nick Pope at Newcastle.
yeah.
So, did it make any sense for him to leave?
Yeah, I think it did because, you know, Ramsdale, I rated him throughout his Arsenal career. Like, I was one of the few that defended Ramsdale when he was making quite a few mistakes. But at the same time, like, I didn't complain about the competition we had at the time with Ramsdale and Raya. But, you know, when Ramsdale was making mistakes, etc., against, you know, West Ham in a Carabao Cup, where I think he failed to claim a cross, and I think there was another goal that he should have saved. And then obviously Brentford, he made that mistake.
We knew he
was
scoring from like almost 40 yards. That would have been so embarrassing, man.
Yeah, and it's a shame, like, the way it's fizzled out, to be honest with you, because again, like, Ramsdale was decent for us, but again, despite me defending Ramsdale in a lot of games, I wasn't really waxing lyrical about him every time he would make an outstanding save. Liverpool, obviously, he was excellent.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. Liverpool was crazy.
Obviously, Bournemouth, when we went 2-0 down, we won in the last minute, like that save he made it.
The transition counter-attack, yeah?
Yeah. It's for me, like, obviously I don't have anything against him, but like, this was the right decision to upgrade him. Like, it would feel like being decision. But like, it was the right decision. So fair play.
Fair play to them. And when you think of the fact that Raya is not the loudest personality, he actually radiates calmness. His positioning is elite, his handling is clean, and his ability with the ball is exactly what our system needs. I love that stuff he does when he's like taking the ball back before he now, you know. So you can see that he's played for the system pretty much, and I really love that about him.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's quickly look at the depth we have at the back. So for each position, we have two players in goal: Raya Kepa, left back Lewis Kelly Calafiori, right back Timbers White, and the four centre backs Hincapie, Gabriel Mosquera, and Saliba. So far, we have seen the combination, and we know what our best is. But the question to you is this: what's your take on the so-called backups to the to the first team players, and what kind of confidence do you have in them?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I am very confident in, well, one of them coming in to fill in for one of the centre backs, or if not both, because again, like, we're not talking, you know, Port Vale in the Carabao Cup. Like, we're talking a Premier League, like a well-established Premier League side as well, Brighton, who have not started the season very well, but still, like, to come in, first time of asking, clean sheet against Brighton. I mean, like, what more can you really say? Like, with the two centre backs in Mosquera, we've seen how he's played whenever he stepped in. Hincapie, that was his first start for Arsenal, and again, I thought he was excellent considering he's come back from an injury. Like, he complements Gabriel so much in terms of the fact he's aggressive and he's rapid as well. I don't think he was that quick. And you could argue he is quicker than Gabriel, but obviously not a better centre back than Gabriel right now. But the fact he's someone that has come back off a league title win as well from Leverkusen.
With Leverkusen, yes.
Yeah, not last season obviously, but the season before.
One season ago.
Yeah, he played an important part in that Leverkusen Invincible team, and the fact he's our backup is ridiculous. Then you look at the left backs, who, Calafiori's been excellent this season, who I didn't rate last season due to the fact he kept getting injured and defensively he was a bit suspect.
Like a biscuit bone or something.
I still maintain that he's a centre-back, not a left-back. But at the same time, like, if this free role is working with him, then like I don't really care, to be honest with you. And he's playing well because of it. I don't know whether the guy's playing left wing, left back, centre mid, striker. The guy's everywhere.
So much chaos, man. It's like a maverick.
Yeah, whereas Lewis Skelly's a little bit more disciplined, if you ask me.
Yeah, structured, yes, as an inverted left back.
Yeah, you can tell Hines has like really got into Lewis Skelly, and obviously last season Skelly was playing more as like an inverted left back. I think this season we've seen him more natural on that side. We've seen him very, very wide to like provide that sort of width that a left back should bring. So yeah, it's strange that we've not really seen Skelly in midfield too many times this season. But at left back, like, he's not awful, is he? He's actually, you would say, England's best left back right now, and he's on backup right now. Like,
he should make the World Cup. I believe he should make the World Cup team.
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is, I don't even know if he's going to be there at the World Cup for England, Anthony, bro. Like, this is what I'm saying.
But right now, who's ahead of him? Shaw? Who else?
I mean, Livramento maybe, but he's injured.
Or if they want to play Trippier on the left. And but the guy used to be under Southgate. I don't think Tuchel. I think Tuchel had a different approach.
I mean, yeah, Chilwell. I don't even know if he's still at Chelsea.
He's in Strasbourg right now.
Oh, is he? I guess Lewis Hall, maybe.
Oh, I forgot about Hall actually. But he's been injured most of the time, though.
I'm not really sure. I think Tuchel at the moment prioritises Skelly as the left back for England, and he's not even starting at Arsenal. So it's mad. Although I think Skelly should be playing more minutes at Arsenal. I really do. I think he should be probably the starting left back, because I prefer him as the left back than Calafiori. But that's not to discredit Calafiori this season. I think he's been really good.
And I think of the fact that we allowed both Zinchenko and Kieran Tierney to go, and also gave Lewis Skelly a contract. That shows some form of commitment from our end that we actually want to, establish him within the team. But no one anticipated Calafiori's form this season. Calafiori just came and just took his chance, just like what Timber did with White. And in all honesty, I think our strongest team is when we have Calafiori on the left. Lewis Skelly will always have the games where you come in and shine, but at the time of this recording, I think Calafiori has proven to be a better left back, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, Anthony, I think, I don't know about you, with the left backs, obviously we let Kieran Tierney go on a free last summer. Like, I think I would have kept him, despite the performances I've seen from Calafiori and the performances I've seen from Lewis Skelly whenever he's had to step in. I would have still kept Tierney so we can see Skelly in midfield. I'm not too sure about what you think, but I think Tierney probably should.
Because if we had kept Tierney, why wouldn't have bought Nkapie when Kivior went? Because Calafiori would have been able to play centre back as the left centre back, while Tierney can now provide that width on the left-hand side.
Yeah, like the fact our left backs are having, I would say, more freedom. Well, Calafiori's having more freedom than anyone else, but Lewis Skelly is playing more like natural, as I said, down that side. Whereas, like, if you add Tierney to that, like, the guy as a natural left back is one of the best left backs in the league.
Good, but he couldn't invert.
But when he's obviously fit, like we're talking, like when he's fit, he is the best left back in the league for me. There's not many that can really chat to Tierney, because it's just obviously a shame Arteta reverted to this inverted BS with Zinchenko, which worked for about 5 months until as I said, he got found out, and we ended up conceding goals. So for me, like, I would have kept Tierney for at least 1 more year. In fact, I would have extended his contract. Because if you have Calafiori and Tierney, your left back.
I think with Tierney, the injuries just play the role. There's a way a player will get injured so much that, in as much as he's quite good, you can't really trust him that much anymore. And even when we loaned him out to Sociedad, He didn't even play up to 20 games for them. He also suffered an injury there. He came back,
But
went for the Euros with Scotland, suffered yet another injury. That we had to just keep him for one more
but
year. So the
but
injuries were too much.
but the thing is, Anthony, bro, he's actually got a better injury record than Tomiyasu, and we extended
Oh
his
yes,
contract.
yes, it was another unfortunate situation.
Yeah, obviously we ended up terminating
Yeah, we had to
Tomiyasu's contract.
terminate it. That just showed how bad things got. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's
Mhm.
as well. He's got a better injury record than Zinchenko, if I
Yeah, yeah.
remember correctly.
Zinchenko also had too many calf injury issues as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I agree with you, bro. So let's look at the tactics a bit. Arteta's system has been all about compactness and control. We defend as a team, the entire 11. Both Martinelli and Saka, or whoever is going to be on those flanks, come all the way back. The front lines basically presses intelligently with Odegaard and Gyökeres. The midfield always close gaps. The back four holds the perfect line. It's not just defending; it's coordination. So this defending that we do as a team, what's your take on it? Do you think it's something that can be improved on it, or do you love the style that currently employs for the team?
um, I think it's probably something to do with. I would say the players Arteta has sort of turned these lot into. I think you look at Timber, who he was solid at Ajax, but I think he wasn't necessarily the best.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was a centre back at Ajax, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But now he's a right back at Arsenal. So it's probably for me something to do with, and obviously Pep Guardiola, we all know, has influenced Mikel Arteta,
Mm-hmm.
but it's obviously something to do with the fact he's sort of moulding players into other positions. You look at Calafiori, who played at centre half at Bologna, plays centre half for the Italian national team, is
Mm-hmm.
now playing left back for Arsenal despite all the injuries. Um, Saliba and Gabriel obviously were centre backs,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously Timber wasn't a fullback at Ajax. I think he figured more in midfield for Ajax than right back,
Yeah.
which is mental from what I've seen anyway. So I think it's something to do with the fact Arteta is trying to mold players into other positions. Declan Rice is obviously playing as our eight, but so far this season, I'd say he's sort of dropped back a little bit
Mm-hmm.
as double pivot. Like we've seen a 4-2-3-1 form once again, because obviously last season and the season before we've been playing a 4-3-3. So it seems like Arteta sort of tweaked that, and so far, we've conceded 3 goals so far this season, 1 from open play. I think playing that double pivot is pivotal because, again, with Subamendi and Declan Rice, you see the Brighton game with Norgard, who is very slow, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Marino in there, like 2 slow individuals in the midfield, and the amount of times Brighton in that first half glided past our midfield. I think with Declan Rice and Subamendi, despite him not having the best awareness, he's still obviously vital in terms of picking up the ball in them pockets and feeding them off. So I think obviously it's something to do with again set pieces. Yeah, obviously he wants just absolute juggernauts in there, doesn't he? He wants players who are physical. Marino before he moved Marino before he moved to Arsenal, he won. Yeah, he had the most dual success rate, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the highest. Yeah, the highest dual success
Over
rate.
300 or some crazy stats like that. I think I remember reading it somewhere.
Yeah, and then obviously Gabriel he's turned him into a dual monster. It's fair to say. But the thing is, these players in the back four wasn't world class before Arteta eventually signed them. So he definitely deserves credit in that aspect that he's turned, centre backs, right backs, left backs, from like up and coming, decent centre offs, defenders, to world class. I'm not saying Calafiori is world class, but like at this rate, he has to become world class the way he's playing, and the fact he's scoring goals from like ridiculous flipping angles. Like you would not think he's a flipping left back.
Yeah,
He never.
I really love that goal that was offside. That was so beautiful, man.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Okay, so finally, let's talk about our mentality and our title ambitions. This team has grown mentally. They no longer panic under pressure. They fight for each other. They fight for every ball. They defend as a unit. They stay laser focused, and this is the mark of a Premier League champion. I was reading an article somewhere where they said when Mourinho had his record of 15 goals conceded, it took him 11 games to get just 3 goals. And also, they're taking us 8 games to get 3 goals. So you can see that there's already a progression for us to beat that record. I'm not keen on the record. My focus is just more on getting our first Premier League title in 22 years. But with the way we are going, do you believe we are good enough to challenge for the Premier League and finally win it after 3 years in second place?
Well, I don't really want to jump the gun too early. I think this is what I will say our best opportunity of winning silverware. Like the squad we've got, I think is a testament to Andrea Berta and the job he's done so far. Bulking up that squad, which was much needed because last season, like we got to situations where when we had injuries and players were dropping like flies, we had to play defenders in attack. So I think, firstly, Andrea Berta has put us in a brilliant position. So far, Arteta has put us in a stable position, top of the league, 6 points ahead of Liverpool, I think 7 ahead of Man City. So it's looking good at the moment, and it could well and truly be our year. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about is how Arteta will adapt if he faces these sort of setbacks, if you know what I mean, to certain players. Like, let's say if one of Zubimendi and Declan Rice either get injured or they pick up a suspension, then you've got Norgard to come in. So how's he going to adapt if he loses players? I actually don't know. And if he still manages to get results based on that, then you can tell he is adapting.
Yeah.
Because every time like he would lose, I don't know, someone in his back four or someone in attack, he won't be able to adapt. And I think we've seen that, with years. With years that he's actually been here. So I think that's one thing that he's got to sort of, he's got to dust down because I think we are going to obviously suffer with injuries this season. Obviously, we have so far with Mikel Havertz, etc. But like these important players, the likes of Gabriel and Declan Rice, I'm looking at them in particular, and like if you can adapt to them injuries and actually trust the squad that Andrea Berta's given you, although some of them, well, a lot of them in fact, have been your signings. This summer I feel like Eze, Gyökeres, etc. were Berta's signings. So he's got an opportunity here to obviously adapt. He's got to adapt to the fact he's not got a false 9 this time. He's got Gyökeres up front. So like a proven goal scorer who hasn't obviously hit the ground running just yet, but again, I've got time with him. So that's all he needs to do, just adapt in case he has to suffer with these consequences, because if he doesn't, then obviously he's not learned, and he only has one way of playing, and that is just set pieces, pray that Gabriel stays fit, and we win games from there, pretty much. But if he does adapt, however, and we still win games despite losing important players, then that's a sign of, winner's mentality, because, again, like, he can get the best of what he has in his squad. And they may not have been his signings, but, managers who aren't even world class to this day have managed to adapt. To look at Ranieri at Leicester,
Yeah,
like
I
he
agree.
managed to adapt and he got over the line.
Yeah,
You look at Pellegrini
yeah, City.
as well, like not a world class manager, but he still got over the line with a squad that was given.
Mancini at City as well.
Yeah, Mancini as well. I'm not going to say Brendan Rodgers, obviously, because he didn't get over the line with Liverpool, but he did get over the line with an FA Cup.
Yeah, true.
With a Leicester team that, well, since he's left, let's be honest, it's gone downhill for them.
Yeah.
So
you don't know what you have until you eventually lose it, and it was very scary because under Nigel Atkins, we are about to get into relegation. And the next year, they are winning the Premier League, and for some reason, they didn't see the need to keep him. That was quite strange, man.
Yeah.
I agree. So, this is a team that enjoys defending, they celebrate tackles, clean sheets like gold, they fight for each other, but it's a culture that has been built. It's a confidence of what Arsenal is doing right now, and we're very proud to be partakers of the club, seeing how the defenses have been. So, finally, we just want to just wrap up. This has been a very good time with you, Rory. I'm so grateful for your
Yeah, you too, bro.
For you to come around and just cook with me on the channel. So far, I've really enjoyed how the defense has been. So how are things with you with your own channel, Red RD?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but basically, it's just Red RD, and I'm obviously not uploading daily at the moment, but I am quite consistent, it's fair to say. I do have a video should I say, planned. Should be a Burnley match reaction tomorrow, and like, that's about it really. Like, I do a lot of Arsenal content pretty much, and that's all it is really.
Awesome.
And obviously I've had haters in the past because I've been negative. It's cool. Like, if you disagree with my opinion, come on and flipping debate me. That's how football goes, isn't it?
So you guys check him out at Red RD. I'm going to also put the description on his link so that we can also follow him. And thanks for also being in the chat today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of Fan Friday. Good to know that we've had 14 games so far, 3 goals conceded. So maybe 30 games so far, 8 goals conceded, or still 3. So before we wrap up, let's just quickly talk about Burnley. What are your thoughts about tomorrow's game against Burnley? That 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a must-win. Like, we've got to win our next 2 games. It's fair to say, but like Burnley this weekend, like, they've started the season quite well, and they've proved that they are a difficult team to break down. But we should be beating Burnley. Like, we've got a decent record at Burnley. I can't remember the last time we actually lost at Burnley. I don't think we have, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I agree. That should be a game that we should win.
And it's a massive game because obviously we play before Liverpool do against Aston Villa. So more pressure on Liverpool in their game against Villa at 8 o'clock. So yeah, it's an important game. I don't care about the opposition. I would take a 1-0 victory from a set piece. Just 3 points will do at the end of the day. And these are games you've got to be winning. So hopefully we maintain our spot at the top of the table and we go again, innit? But we've got to get the job done first.
Awesome. All right, Rory. Thank you so much for being in the channel tonight.
Appreciate it, bro.
And I'll see you some other time in the future. Stay safe. Bye, bro.